Good morning and welcome to our last October adult story time. We're going to finish up with a story in the book Franklin County Ghosts, and today's story is The Farmer's Wife, and this is a story that is set in Greencastle, Pennsylvania. The Farmer's Wife, home away from home. This is where you belong. Marilyn Newcomer always had a love for antiques. When I was young, I collected old books, she said, but it wasn't until she retired that she was able to devote the time and attention needed to fully pursue her passion. She began to go to auctions and accumulated many valuable and unique items. It was her daughter who suggested she look into renting space in antique shops to sell some of the treasures she had accumulated. Marilyn thrived on the buying and selling cycle of the business. She rented booths in various locations and became well known in the local area for the quality of antiques she offered. Sometime in 2003, people she had met at an auction approached her about setting up space in an antique shop they planned to open in Greencastle. A friend encouraged her to go see it. The building at 103 South Carlisle Street dates from the first decade of the 1900s. A staircase along the south side of the building connects the two attics and basement to the main floor. The former headquarters for LH Lighter Hardware was used for various stores and shops as it changed hands over the next 100 years, until it eventually became home to antique dealers on the main floor and a fitness center in the basement. Marilyn walked into the store, and within a few feet of the entrance, she was overwhelmed by the sense of belonging, almost a feeling of being at home. The building told her, "You're supposed to be here, Marilyn. This is where you belong." It just felt right. A short time later, the owners decided to sell, and she was able to purchase the building. It wasn't planned, she said. It just happened. Then stuff started happening. Marilyn's family helped her get the shop organized. One night, just after she acquired the property, Marilyn, some family members, and friends took a break from their work to go to dinner. Before they left, Marilyn made certain all the lights were off and the doors were locked. An hour later, they returned to find every light on and every door still locked. Each night prior to closing, Marilyn would make no less than 3 trips around the store, ensuring that all lights were off and all doors locked. Each morning when she opened, lights were on, sometimes all of them. Then the bells started. Customers and employees heard the tinkling of bells coming from somewhere inside the store, a sound made by bells that were not there. The bells followed no pattern. Sometimes the sound was loud and startling, as if the bells were close by. Other times the sound was faint but distinctive. Small items such as keys or cell phones seemed to move to the edges of the counters or fall onto the floor. The cordless phone was frequently off of its cradle. Customers and workers often heard footsteps in the attic, heavy, deliberate footsteps, and everyone who spent time there began to feel as though they were being followed. Marilyn's granddaughter was working in the store alone one Saturday night. She called frightened. "I wish it would just go away," she told Marilyn. "It's following me everywhere." I told her I knew exactly what she was talking about. Marilyn suggested she turn on the television as a distraction. Marilyn remained on the telephone with her until her father came to take her home. The front door was heard opening and then closing, but no customers appeared in the store. This happened to Marilyn one day while her back was to the front of the store and she was working on the computer. She looked up expecting to see a customer, but no one was there. Turning back to her computer, she began to get the feeling someone was there, right next to her. She decided to try a different approach and said, "Okay, Mr. Ghosty, we're buddies. I'm not going to be afraid of you anymore. Hang out as long as you want." Immediately after uttering this friendly compromise, she felt a dark, cold breath in her ear as garbled sounds ordered her to get out. She did. Ghostly occurrences. Shadows in the basement. The basement of the building at 103 South Carlisle Street had housed for a number of years a popular fitness center for women. Fitness equipment is set up in various stations around the facility. One of the employees typically comes in early to open. One particular day, a few ladies came in with her and went to the back area to begin their workout. Moments later, they called to her to come look. She went back to where they pointed. On the floor, in front of one of the pieces of equipment, was a circle of small stones about the size of large pebbles. The stones had no logical source, as there were none in the facility and the building sat on a paved lot. Sometimes the equipment appears to move, just by inches here and there, and another employee often finds lights turned off at night by one employee on in the morning. Items on the front sign-in counter are moved and paperwork will drift in a non-existent breeze across the counter to the floor. A filing cabinet and several pieces of equipment are located toward the back of the room at the base of the stairway connecting the basement to the antique shop. The paperwork in this filing cabinet is frequently disturbed. At least once a week, a worker straightens it out. The drawers and files are attacked at night and found scattered in the morning. Many patrons have complained of an odd, musty odor that comes and goes. The basement has been checked for mold and other possible sources, but none have been found. Some have described the smell as that of a wet dog. Everyone has heard the bells, a tinkling kind of bell toward the back area by the stairway. Employees and clients who have come in with their children say their little ones are frightened by the bells and by something in the back. Children have even claimed they were being followed or watched. And many who frequent the facility during the day and at night have seen a low, dark shadow move across the front of the stairway. Apparitions. Ghost hunters and those claiming sensitivity to unseen presences have visited the farmer's wife and have suggested that various entities move about the building, causing everything from the footsteps to the malfunctioning lights to the sounds of the tinkling bells. Among these unseen visitors are two young children, a boy and a girl, who come and go from the main floor of the antique shop. They lived down the street during the early years of the building and appear to be 7 to 9 years old. While they don't appear to be poor, apparently they did not get enough to eat at home and would come to the shop where they were given treats or food. They were happy when they were there. They play and run around the main floor. The attic is divided into 2 floors. The highest level at one time held horse collars with bells, harnesses, and leather items used on farms. The main attic was a work area where men crafted the items stored and sold in the shop. The spirit of one of these men is still there. He is someone who worked with his hands. From his clothing and the history of the building, it is likely he was a leather worker. He is wearing a blue, almost denim-like open-neck shirt and has a scarf of some sort tied around his neck. His pants are baggy at the top and get tighter around the ankles. Over his clothes, he is wearing what appears to be a leather work vest or apron. His dog is with him. It appears to be a large, grayish-black, long-haired dog. It is wolf-like in appearance, except for its ears, which hang down. It is shaggy and dirty from being out in the woods. The craftsman clearly loves his dog, and he takes it with him everywhere. Believed to be in his 30s and handsome, John loved his work. He was very happy there and believes it is where he belongs. He walks the building with his dog because it is his building, and he is responsible for it. He is looking out for his building and for everyone who comes there. It is suggested that it's John who plays pranks on the current employees and patrons of the antique shop and the health club in the basement, and that it is he who follows and watches, accompanied by the low, dark shadow cast by his beloved dog. Epilogue. Today, footsteps can still be heard around the attic. Something still follows the customers and the workers, and the lights go off and on at will. Musty smells still emanate from an unknown source down in the fitness center, and the filing cabinet continues to disrupt itself. A fleeting shadow is sometimes seen scurrying by the staircase, but the most consistent phenomenon remains the ringing of that non-existent bell. The sound of ringing bells is so common that Marilyn mentions them in her antique shop ads. And that was today's story, The Farmer's Wife. Once again, it was from the book Franklin County Ghost. It was written by Athena Veronis. And if you would like to read more stories that are in this book, we do have a copy for checkout here at the library, or I am led to understand that the Franklin County Historical Society does have these books on sale, so you may want to contact them if you'd like to have a personal copy. So until next time, when we come out with a new series of stories, stay healthy, be safe, and have a wonderful week.